and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. This is the Christmas episode with the least amount of connection to a previous review like the rest. The connection is really just Star Wars itself, although in terms of a previous review, there's at least my various movie adaptations I've done over the years, Xanadu, the Star Trek movies, the original Power Rangers film, etc. Also, that one time I did review Star Wars, but it's weird, I can barely remember that. Today, we're talking about The Force Awakens, where, hey Linkara, I hated The Last Jedi because it— Shut up! 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 I am so sick of hearing people talk about The Last Jedi! We are not talking about The Last Jedi! I freaking love it and The Force Awakens, but that doesn't matter, because today we are only talking about The Force Awakens! So take your damn comments about The Last Jedi somewhere else! We're talking about The Force Awakens only! But The Last Jedi— Shut up! Look, I'm gonna cover that adaptation eventually too, so save your complaints for when we get to it! Episode 7, the door's open, let's go! And boy, if you guys thought Batman Returns doesn't count as a Christmas movie, this one's gonna be divisive. But since in the last few years we've had 3 Star Wars movies released around the holiday season, I think it's fair to say it's become kind of associated with it. Plus, hey, the final fight is in a snowy forest, and that's closer to emulating the season than some actual Christmas movies.
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
Honestly, I shouldn't be talking about this adaptation until the final movie of the sequel trilogy is out, but it's been bugging me for 3 years now. A statement that annoys me as a writer, a fan of Star Wars, and as a critic. It's the real reason why I decided to do this review at all. The Force Awakens is just a retread of A New Hope. It's a carbon copy of A New Hope. Disney played it safe by just copying A New Hope. Because, you know, similar elements are never gonna spring up in a 40-year-old franchise with a massive expanded universe that has lengthy encyclopedias about the brand of shoelaces every character wears. So yeah, that's my real purpose with this review, to show it is not just a carbon copy of A New Hope. Sure, similar ideas are present, but that's mostly because of being the first part of a trilogy and deliberate echoes that the filmmaker wanted to evoke. Or, as our old pal George Lucas once said—
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Speaking of rhyming and repetition, this is my second review of a 6-issue miniseries based off of a J.J. Abrams film this year, since he also directed Star Trek 2009. And like that one, this comic got released after the movie was out on home media, by a month this time. Who is this comic made for other than jackasses on the internet like me who don't review movies unless they're paid to do so by Patreon sponsors? I'll give it this, though. This adaptation fared far better in orders than Star Trek 2009 did, with 79,000 orders for the first issue and ending at 33,000 orders in November, averaging around 39,000 for its middle issues. For a movie adaptation that was coming out after the Blu-ray and DVD were available, that's doing better than some mainstream books out there. That's kind of amazing and really shows the power of this franchise, in my opinion, and how strongly people feel about it. Here's one last thing I'm gonna say about the sequel trilogy before we start, since I'm sure people will ignore my calm request to not have arguments about The Last Jedi in the comments. Hate it, love it, fine, it doesn't matter. Because regardless of whether or not it's a masterpiece like the original trilogy, or as despised as that Detours cartoon that never got released, we can all agree on one thing. At least it gave us something new to make jokes about, because we had run every other Star Wars joke about the prequels and the original trilogy into the ground, and it's nice to have some fresh material. So let's dig into Star Wars: The Force Awakens, the official comic adaptation, and see if indeed that is how the Force works. See, I'm already doing it.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where Yuletide candles burn. Linkara's gonna give you all a present you've not earned. Not Mensch, you're not the brightest. Frank Miller, you're off the nice list. If writer who misuses a license, your gift will be returned. Dig
reading from a trade, so no looking at the covers, plus it's 6 issues, so let's just jump right in. Our opening text crawl begins by explaining that Luke Skywalker has disappeared and that the remnants of the Empire, now rebranded as the First Order, are hunting him down. Leia, with the support of the New Republic, has formed a resistance organization to stop the First Order, which rather makes sense because of a piece of dialogue that ended up cut from the comic adaptation, but we'll get to that later. Leia's searching for Luke, hoping his presence can help stop the First Order. Leia has sent her most daring pilot on a secret mission to Jakku, where an old ally has discovered a clue to Luke's whereabouts. Now, it might seem weird to send a pilot to get this information, but, well, look at that face! First stormtrooper who sees him is gonna join the rebellion. Hell, I'm not even gay and I think he's so damn pretty. We truly open on Jakku, skipping the attack on the village where that pilot, Poe Dameron, received what he was looking for. It's an okay cut, just going straight to Poe captured by the First Order, but it takes out little details. The stormtrooper getting blood in his helmet, our villain, Kylo Ren, stopping a blaster shot in midair. It's an okay start. Oh, and one other thing that they sadly cut, one thing I really appreciate about this movie, after decades of jokes about stormtroopers being terrible, not being able to shoot straight, beginning of this movie makes them friggin' scary. That is Poe, kneeling in front of the dark First Order enforcer, Kylo Ren, as opposed to the light-hearted First Order enforcer, Darth Snuggles. The dead man is Lor San Tekka, who gave something to Poe. A map to the Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker. Okay, no, this is a point that a lot of people get wrong about the movie. The map isn't to Luke, it's to where they think Luke went. It's not like Luke left breadcrumbs for everybody like a big scavenger hunt. Hey guys, come find me and win an X-Wing. Slight water damage. Poe's droid, a little beach ball with a head named BB-8, which, by the way, I love when Star Wars doesn't try to be subtle at all. Its name is just 3 characters that look like the stylized version of its shape. Rolls off into the distance while Poe is taken to the First Order ship. Kylo Ren orders the villagers slaughtered, but one stormtrooper is noticeably disturbed by this. Impressive work for both the movie and the comic for capturing that without seeing the guy's face. This is FN-2187. The blood on his helmet belonged to his friend, FN-2003. He was saving that blood for a special occasion, but FN-2187 totally ruined it. On another part of Jakku, we meet a scavenger named Rey, and there's a nifty montage in the comic of Rey's daily life. Looking for spare components and materials, trading them in for food. It's done well enough in the comic. Rey rescues BB-8 from another scavenger. That's just Tito. Wants you for parts. He has no respect for anyone. Could just be he has no respect for droids. Like, seriously, Rey, you are the first person in these movies to ever actually be concerned about a droid's well-being. On board Kylo Ren's Star Destroyer, called the Finalizer, which I know is a real word, but honestly, it's just goofy enough that it fits right in with Kylo Ren's edgelord aesthetic. It would only be better if they called it the Destroyinator. Using the Force, Kylo is able to read Poe's mind and learns that the map is stored in BB-8. He tells this to General Hux, the guy in direct command of their forces. Over to FN-2187, he takes off his helmet, almost hyperventilating from what happened on the surface. His superior officer, Captain Phasma, orders him to report to her division and submit his blaster for inspection. It's clear from how Ren looked at him on the surface, not having participated in the massacre, that he's under suspicion. As such, he takes Poe on the pretense of Ren wanting to see him, but then offers to get him to a TIE fighter so the two can escape. Why are you helping me? Because it's the right thing to do. You need a pilot. I need a pilot. Also, Phasma wants to inspect my blaster, and it's got a lot of modifications on it that would put my ass in the brig if they found out. The two proceed to head into a TIE fighter and steal it, blasting away at not only the fighter bay, but also the Finalizer's cannons so they won't get shot down instantly. A stormtrooper betraying the villains and breaking out a dashing, charismatic expert pilot in a TIE fighter in an exciting, fun action scene with great banter. You know, totally the same as A New Hope. Poe asks for his name, but of course, as a faceless stormtrooper, he's just designated FN-2187. FN, huh? I'm gonna call you Finn. I'm Poe Dameron. What? My name can't be Finn. It's not ridiculous enough for this universe. Why not, Findolar Gasnivasnorch? They start heading back to Jakku so they can get BB-8, much to Finn's objection, but it's a moot point since the finalizer manages to get a hit off on them and they're forced to crash. Kylo knows it was Finn who helped Poe escape and they detect where they crashed, dispatching a squad to retrieve them. Or rather just Finn, because he successfully ejected before they crashed. However, he can't find Poe in the wreckage, just his jacket. The rest of the ship sinks into the sand and Finn makes his way out. Rey, in the meanwhile, tells BB-8 that it shouldn't give up hope waiting for Poe. He might still show up, whoever it is you're waiting for. I know all about waiting. From my family. They'll be back, one day. Yes, BB-8, just keep waiting like me. It's done wonders for my life. Look, I own my own stick. Rey's tempted to sell BB-8 for food briefly, but she resists and just walks off with him. Poe arrives at the settlement, desperate for water. He spots some goons trying to attack Rey to steal BB-8, but before he can intercede, she kicks their asses. However, BB-8 spots him and recognizes Poe's jacket on him. She gives chase and knocks him down, and he explains what happened, minus the part where he's a stormtrooper. She thinks he's with the Resistance. I've never met a Resistance fighter before. Well, this is what we look like. Some of us. Others look different. For example, there's this guy, and this dude. Also, a lot of people seem to like this fish person. Stormtroopers soon arrive and spot them, opening fire. The two run, though that's not helped by some TIE fighters strafing the village. They head to a ship lot and head for one in particular for its speed, though Finn points out that another's closer. That ship's garbage! And the ship they were headed to gets blasted. The garbage will do! And we reveal that it's the Millennium Falcon. Say what you will about the new movies. Like 'em, hate 'em, but hey, they gave us new Star Wars quotes, and I am all for that. Issue 2 begins with Rey half crashing the Falcon along the ground before finally taking off. Finn shoots at the pursuing TIE fighters, but this is only the second time he's ever shot Starship laser guns, and Rey is trying to fly the Falcon without a co-pilot, so naturally it's not exactly going to plan for them. They head for cover. The Graveyard of Giants, once the site of a massive battle between the Republic and the Galactic Empire. A battle the Empire lost. And now scavengers pick the bones of old dead starships. There is also a gift shop. They finally manage to destroy the TIE fighters and head off planet, the two happily complimenting each other about it, and I just love how jovial and excited they both are about everything. It's so nice to not see any snarky, ugh, what sort of flying was that kind of thing. Too often these days, genuine friendship and admiration is replaced with cynical grumbling and insults to try to create camaraderie, and it gets annoying after a while. And frankly, the bond that these two create is especially believable given their backgrounds. Rey has become kind because she knows what it's like to be abandoned and live every second in a harsh world that will normally not help you. Finn has lived as a stormtrooper, and let's face it, a fascist state that assigns you a number instead of a name is not going to be good for positive reinforcement, so to have someone who finally is just nice and reassuring and compliments you has got to be refreshing for them. Meanwhile, on board the Finalizer, Kylo Ren is informed of the escape. We were unable to acquire the droid on Jakku. It escaped aboard a stolen Corellian YT model freighter. The droid stole a freighter? I mean, BB-8 would later take over an AT-ST, so I wouldn't put it past him. We believe FN-2187 may have helped in the escape. And Kylo Ren uses his lightsaber to slash away and destroy the computer console in front of him. Anything else? Well, I was going to say that we can track them, but you just destroyed the tracking computer, sir. Also, another good adaptation note. The implication, like so many other villains, is that he would kill the messenger to show he's evil. And the art implies that's what was about to happen with the lightsaber being turned on and off, but then shows the destroyed console. Again, kudos. The officer says that Finn was accompanied by a girl and he force pulls him over to be choked. What girl? Well, I tell you, but I seem to be unable to breathe for some reason. The Falcon sustained some damage that they need to repair quickly, and while Rey does so, she asks where the location of the Resistance base is. Finn, of course, doesn't know and whispers the truth to BB-8, convincing him to tell her where it is. And yes, they include the thumbs up bit, because why wouldn't you? Anyway, Rey promises to drop them off at a place that will get them to the right system, since she needs to head back to Jakku. Back to Jakku? Why does everyone want to go back to Jakku? Rent control mostly. He points out that she's a pilot and can go anywhere she wants, but before she can give any real answer, the Falcon's controls are overridden and they're pulled into a larger ship. They hide, planning on releasing poisonous gas on whoever took them, but it's soon revealed to be Han and Chewie, who board the Falcon and find them. It seems that at some point, the Falcon got stolen by several different parties until it ended up on the junkyard in Jakku. When he reveals who he is, both Rey and Finn are shocked because of the respective stories they've heard about him. We even get this neat little flashback panel depicting different bits from the movies, as well as Han and Kashyyyk with the Wookiees. Holiday special confirmed as canon. Princess Leia sung a coked-out song to a bunch of Wookiees on Christmas, and Art Carney has a magic box with Jefferson Starship inside of it. Say it, Han!
It's true. All of it.
When they mention BB-8 having a map to Luke Skywalker, Han's a little more amenable, but they are interrupted again by an arriving ship, and Han's revelation that they're hauling dangerous creatures called Rathtars. Considering most of this has taken place over the course of a few hours, the escape from the Finalizer, crashing, walking through the desert, beaten up by Rey, narrow escape in a freighter, captured by Han Solo, and having to deal with criminals and monsters, really this movie should have been called The Force Hates Finn. The arriving ship houses a bunch of people all looking for money from Han and are ready to shoot him, especially when they spot BB-8 with him. Rey and Finn, hidden in maintenance shafts under the floor, think they can seal them off, but Rey accidentally resets the wrong fuses and allows the Rathtars to escape. Rathtars are giant tentacle monsters with multiple rows of teeth, so you can see how well that goes. Namely, awesomely, since it kills the criminals. Mind you, issue 2 ends with Finn almost getting eaten too, but I'm still calling this a win. The group escapes to the Falcon, though Chewie is injured, necessitating Finn to take care of him while Rey co-pilots. They just barely manage to escape, but the surviving gangsters inform the First Order of what happened. We cut to Starkiller Base, and we'll be talking about that in a bit, where Kylo Ren and General Hux talk to the Supreme Leader of the First Order, a dude named Snoke, who I am severely disappointed by for only one reason: he is not a giant like this hologram of him suggests he is. Size matters not, Yoda? I think the giant lightsaber he'd be wielding would disagree. Hux suggests, and kudos again to the artwork for making him look like a creepy, scrunch-faced Junji Ito character, that they use their new weapon to wipe out the Republic, which has been supporting the Resistance. Without that support, they'll be a much easier target. Mind you, this is in response to Snoke pointing out that soon the Resistance will be able to find Luke, so not sure why that's what he suggests. While Hux goes off to do that, Snoke talks with Kylo. The titular awakening in the Force has been sensed by both. What's more, it's revealed that Kylo is the son of Han and Leia, and that a confrontation with Han is coming. Speaking of, back over to the Falcon, where the group takes a look at the map. This map's not complete. It's just a piece. Damn fog of war. It's always like this. Just send out a bunch of scout units in the unexplored areas, and eventually you'll find him. Han explains what happened to Luke, that he was training a new generation of Jedi, but then Kylo Ren turned on him and destroyed it all. Luke, feeling responsible for it, walked away from everything. The rumor was that he was seeking out the first Jedi Temple, which is what the map is actually to. Rey thought the Jedi were a myth, and Han reflects that he used to believe it was just that too. But of course that changed. Han doesn't want to go directly to the Resistance, probably to avoid seeing Leia or getting caught up in everything again, but he knows people who can. They travel to the planet Takodana to see a woman named Maz Kanata. Rey is mystified by how lush a world it is, and Han bonds with her a bit, even offering her a spot in his crew since she knows how to handle the Falcon. However, she turns him down since she wants to go back to Jakku, thinking she's been gone too long. You know, good character stuff. Anyway, they head to Maz's castle. She's run this watering hole for 1,000 years.
It would be nice to have that kind of job security.
One dumb thing they do is bring BB-8 with them, since some of the patrons in the bar recognize that that's the droid the First Order and the Resistance are both looking for. But for the time being, Maz just brings them over to talk. Over to the Finalizer, Kylo Ren talks to Darth Vader's burnt-out helmet as if he was talking to Vader, because in case you hadn't figured it out with his silly little helmet and all, he's a massive Darth Vader fanboy who wants to emulate him. I also love the thought of Kylo Ren spending like days or weeks on Endor trying to talk to the Ewoks in the vain hope that he can find where Luke burned Vader's body, just to find the original helmet and then geeking out over it. Our heroes talk to Maz about getting BB-8 to the Resistance, but she says it's time for Han to rejoin the fight and go see Leia. What fight? The only fight. Against the dark side. Through the ages, I've seen evil take many forms. The Sith, the Empire. Today, it is the First Order. Their shadow spreads across the galaxy. We must face them, fight them, All of us. Some people have said that they dislike how the sequel trilogy fell back to the idea of a rebellion versus an empire, and I can understand why they would feel that way, but honestly, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Maz is right. Evil has this tendency to spring up again. To quote another sci-fi franchise, history is much like an endless waltz. The three beats of war, peace, and revolution continue on forever. There's always going to be some evil force rising, the next threat that tends to borrow the same rhetoric and talking points as the last one. The First Order is the Empire because there will always be an Empire. Someone else out there who tries to do the same evil things, and they take advantage of complacency or disbelief or perceived weaknesses to rise again until it's too late. And thus there must always be a resistance, a rebellion to fight back, either to stop it before it gets too far, or to keep the fire going so that someday it'll be overturned once again. Maz gets up in Finn's face when he says there's no fighting the First Order and continues the point. Live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people. Don't know why you have Gene Simmons' eyes, but I'm not complaining.